So good evening, good evening, good evening. Monday evening, 5 o'clock. Well, it's actually 10 past 5. Apologies, lateness is greatness. You know what time that means? You know what time that means? Should we start this again? So good evening. We're back again. The Real Talk podcast is here every Monday. So all the people that have not got notifications that come in crying, I didn't get a notification. Well, it's the same time every Monday. Jez, how are you, mate? How's your Monday going? Happy Halloween.
All good, all good. Yeah, the house outside is covered in cobwebs, spiders, bats, skeletons, ghosts, holographic projector projecting to the front of the house. Got the grandson here, so he's dressed up as a devil. The wife is dressed up as God knows what. And Jodie, the daughter, is dressed up as a witch. So,
what are you dressing up as, Jez?
Me.
You're not partaking in the fancy dress?
No.
No, come on, don't be a Scrooge. Get involved.
I ain't got anything. I've got an ugly face. So I suppose
have you not got an Arteta mask you could put on?
Yeah, that would scare all the kids away, wouldn't it? That would do some damage. You know what I mean? No, they're going out trick-or-treating in a bit, but I've got to wait here with a big bowl of sweeties for all the little kids if they come round. So,
oh, mate, I never open the door, Jez. Real talk. Never open it. Yeah,
well, we do it for the grandson.
Never open it. It's a good night for nonces, though, isn't it? Real talk. If you're a nonce, it's the perfect night for you.
Yeah, but I'm not. I've got the grandson.
I'm glad you've cleared that up, Jess.
We do it for him. We do it for him.
You said that was fucking funny. That was too funny. Kenny, happy Halloween, mate. Is your house lit up? Is everything kicking off in your house?
Just the daughter's going out for trick-or-treating, but you know there are sweets. But the thing about it, some of my favourite sweets. So I can't help helping myself. You know, things like mints and toffee mix. I just can't help it. You know, the bag's open. I help myself. If the kids come, then by all means, I have no intention of answering the door because I'm busy doing this podcast, and I do have a life. So I'll be watching my usual old football and cricket videos and watching any live cricket or football's on, and I'm certainly not going to in between having another run. I don't see why I should go and answer the door. But you know, I understand it's the spirit of it all and blah blah. Trick or treat, it's nice, isn't it, for the kids? Just don't knock on my door too often because I don't want to keep them coming up and answering the door for you.
Exactly. And big up to Leanne in the chat as well. Big up to everyone who's watching live, everyone who's watching on playback. And yes, Leanne, I will be sat in the dark pretending I'm not in. But big up to everybody in this chat, man. Only one place to start. That was with Arsenal's 5-star performance yesterday. 5 goals. Gabriel Jesus not amongst the 5 goals. Reiss Nelson was. Top Gooners today, super fans are like all around the world. Sign him up. Give him a new contract. So I thought that's where we should probably start before the performance of the rest of the team. Is probably with Reiss Nelson. He's got less than a year left on his contract. I've seen people saying, oh, he's got more goals than Sancho this season. Nobody cares. Like, do you think Jadon Sancho's lost any sleep over that? I don't think he has. Like, genuinely, nobody cares. He's played 65 minutes of football for Arsenal in the Premier League. And off of the back of that, most people that I've seen today are saying, sign him up to a new contract. My opinion quickly on that is, have we not learned our lesson from Eddie Nketiah? Because this guy was literally walking out the door. Here's the king's number. Here's 100 grand a week. And what have we got in return so far? Nada. Do we not learn our lessons on that? Jez, what are your thoughts on Reiss Nelson? I don't dislike Reiss, by the way. I'm just throwing that out there. But after 65 minutes, if that's how easily pleased our fans are to sign him up, then we're in a lot of trouble going forward. What did you make of him, his performance, and would you give him a new deal?
It was a good performance. 2 very nice goals. I wouldn't make any changes to the contract. No, this is typical Arsenal. Lee, Kenny, it's panic, panic, panic. if Edu and all that crew get their facts right and do the business, we can get better quality in. But no, I'm fed up with seeing this. I mean, you're quite right in what you said. Eddie Nketiah, yeah, okay. Scored a few goals last season. He ain't worth 100 grand a week. I said that. You said it. All of us said it. And look at the return we're getting. The guy is absolute crap. He's crap. He came on and what did he do yesterday? Nothing.
Run around in like a headless chicken, did nothing.
He panics, and I'm sorry, he's just not good enough. And Reiss Nelson, well, yeah, I like the guy, but you've got to prove it that you're actually. If he was to get more game time and to actually prove his worth, then I'd say maybe in the summer. But let's wait and see. Let's not sign him up tomorrow for some stupid, ridiculous contract, and then he doesn't deliver. No, sorry, not for me.
Mate, I tend to agree. Kenny, you was at the game live. You see his goals, witnessed them there and then as they happened, mate. And what do you make of him and his performance yesterday? And would you give him a new contract?
Well, I was very pleased with his performance, and I marked him accordingly yesterday in the player ratings. I gave him a 9 out of 10. And he opened a deluge of goals with his second and third goals, and he basically opened the game up, because I think towards the end of the first half, there was a lot of restlessness, because I think us scoring early, you would have thought that we would have just like turned them over, but they actually got a bit of encouragement. We were giving the ball away and they were pressing us, but they didn't have an end product. The second half, he took the game away from us. But in terms of Reiss Nelson, Arsenal fans need to sort of like relax themselves and stop going on like pork chops, as Mr. Beef says, because let's be honest, we've already heard rumours that are not going away, that if we are going to buy players, Mikel Arteta is going to be looking for, obviously, he's looking for another midfielder and a winger. Now, that winger shouts out loudly, which means if, like I said, they are looking for a winger, then I don't see any reason why they're looking for a winger when they got Reiss Nelson. Reiss Nelson hasn't cut at Arsenal. Injuries, loans, or everything. He's not going to get a new contract. It's just not going to happen, no matter how much he's going to play. For a start, he's only going to be an understudy to Bukayo Saka, who we all hope makes a quick recovery. And obviously, England fans and Gareth Southgate hopes he plays the World Cup, because Reiss, we're not going to be playing Forest every day, and I say that respectfully, because normally in games, we're not able to pass through the lines. We're not able to sort of like stretch teams, because teams nowadays, staple diet Premiership teams are good defensively, and that you have to pressure them. Forest, we're just walking through them. So, I was not discrediting Reiss, but that maybe a week's time at the bridge, and maybe against after Christmas against better teams, he wouldn't be forming like that. That's just a fact. So he ain't be getting a new contract. But respect to Arsenal fans for saying that, because all Arsenal fans and all fans like it when academy players do well, because it makes them feel that an Arsenal supporter is wearing a shirt with pride. But I think the ship's passed with Nelson, and I'm glad he had a good performance, and I hope he performs as well. But there's really a lot of work he needs to do to get a new contract, and I don't think he's going to get the time to do it, because there's better players in his position. So come this June, it'll be goodbye, wish you the best of luck, and a goodbye video. And that's not because I want it to happen. It's going to happen.
Yeah, he's been here a long time, hasn't he? And he's never really kicked on. Like, he went out on loan, and that didn't really go down well either. I just want to share a tweet that somebody sent me earlier, by the way. This is actually hilarious. For anyone who hasn't seen this, this is the levels of delusion and backwards mentality that our fan base come out with, by the way. This is just mad. But I've seen a lot of things today about Reiss Nelson that I've thought, are you actually taking the piss? Like, real talk. Like, are you actually taking the piss? Can't get it. 1 second. Stay there, people. Smash the likes up while we're doing this. I will find it. 1 second. Oh, I know what I've done. I put it in the wrong folder. Where are we? There we go. Right, let's add that into there. And then we'll put it, if I can find it again. There we go. Right. This is up there as quite possibly one of the weirdest things I've ever heard or seen in my social media life. Reiss Nelson is our Freddie Ljungberg.
You sure?
And when that was sent to me, nearly 4,000 people have liked it, Jez. This is the levels. These people deserve nothing good, ever. Yeah, and I know that's only one individual, but that one individual has nearly 300,000 followers, by the way, that clearly liked that post. And this is why I can't stand this fan base, if I'm honest, because as soon as they get something, i.e. Zinchenko, all of a sudden it's let's discard Kieran Tierney, which leads me on perfectly to the super chat that Chaitanya put in. Yeah, and he said, lads, are you concerned about the left-back situation? Zinchenko's nowhere to be seen with a calf injury. Why do we always get long-term calf injuries? Right? That's a great comment, and I appreciate the love, bro. Yeah. As soon as Zinchenko come in, it was let's discard Kieran Tierney. As soon as Saka goes off, by the way, he should have gone off 10 minutes earlier. Reiss Nelson comes on, scores 2 goals in a couple of minutes. Now he's our Freddie Ljungberg. They deserve nothing, Jez. Am I right or wrong here? Because how the hell, yeah, and that kid, yeah, I'm adamant that kid has never seen Freddie Ljungberg play. And if he has, he's probably about 3 years old.
I was just going to say that. Has he ever actually seen Freddie Ljungberg play? No. You might watch old clips of some of the best times of Freddie Ljungberg. No. This is the piss take of these people. Sorry I swore. But
swear as much as you like, mate.
No. The fact of the matter is that is an absolute ridiculous comment. It is nonsensical. It's got no foundation. One game of quality where he scored 2 very nice goals, and this person, whoever he is relating him to Freddie Ljungberg. You
know what? If the thing about it, right, is that this lad is a kid. He's probably read up in the history, and he's gone to the old game. And we still sing the Freddie song. They're different players. Freddie, first came to us as a right winger, but we quickly realised he was never that. He was never that. He was always going to be that sort of winger, sort of midfielder who just ghosted in and made the runs. You know what I mean? And scored loads of goals because he ran past the midfielder that held the ball up. Reiss don't play like that, so the comparison is lazy in that respect. But in terms of like Reiss, is that when Freddie Ljungberg first came to a great club, he hit the ground running. Albeit he had excellent players alongside him, but he had hit the ground running and made an absolute difference. This guy's going on like Reiss Nelson has just made his debut, and the brace he scored was on his debut, when really, and factually, Reiss has been here quite a while, and it just hasn't worked out of him in terms of his injuries, confidence levels, and that really, and sadly, because you like these kids to make it, he's not what we need or what we want, and that it's not going to be long until he's plying his trade elsewhere. I know the fans are going to say, give him a new contract. I respect that. It's nice,
Yeah, Kenny. But this is where I don't respect it. Yeah, I know you're being polite because you're a nice guy. Yeah, I just don't care. He's played 65 minutes of football, and it's here you go, throw a load of money at him because he's got 2 goals. It's how easily pleased and starving this fan base are, Kenny.
But trust me, it's these. Anyone that go in the match, I'll tell you that at the match yesterday, not one person was talking about Reiss Nelson in those sort of terms. In fact, they spent more time praising Granit Xhaka and Partey. It was a nice little cameo for him, and respect to him. But he's not going to be here next season, because if Arsenal want to challenge for big honours, because Mick Arteta is saying that he's challenged his players to score 90 to 100 goals, which means that is the level of performances you want to challenge for the league. This guy's not going to be part of the party, and pardon the part, because he hasn't cut it for Arsenal. you know, we don't need to find out whether he's good enough. We've given him a good few years, and it's just worked out. He's a big man now, hasn't worked out, and it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. Give him a new contract will be like going backwards. We've already done Eddie, and you know, it hasn't worked out in the first quarter of this season, and a lot of that to do is that you don't pay someone £100,000 a week to just warm the bench. You pay him £100,000 a week to push Jesus for that starting berth and kick him out the door for that starting berth. So I'm sorry, at the moment with Eddie, it hasn't been money well spent, and I suspect that if Arsenal are ever going to be looking for a striker, it would not be inconceivable to think that they're not happy with Eddie's performances, because Eddie, by giving Eddie £100,000 a week, it's because there's no need to buy a big striker because we've got Eddie.
Yeah, and this is the thing, right? Like, I want to highlight this comment very quickly. Why are you complaining about one tweet, you sack? Right, number one, that person's got nearly 300,000 people that follow him, mate. Number two, he was probably less than maybe 8 years old when Freddie Ljungberg left the football club. Yeah, so if you're going to put a comparison of a player in, why don't you pick one that you've actually seen? Yeah, rather than one that you haven't seen at all. And if you have, you probably can't remember it. Yeah, and it definitely weren't in Freddie's prime. That's for sure. Yeah, Freddie left the club in 2007. Yeah, he was gone past his prime by then. Yeah, his prime was between what, 02 and 05? Yeah, that was the 3 years where he, maybe a little bit before that, actually. Maybe I'm doing him a little bit of a disservice here. Yeah, because he came in, what, 99?
No, he came in 98. He scored in his debut, his first home game against Man United. And, you know, to be honest, he only blossomed when Overmars left the club.
True. Yeah, that's true. If you actually go through season by season with him, he only hit double digits on goals twice. I'm looking at it now in the league. Yeah, 01-02 when we won the league. Yeah, and 04-05 when we won the FA Cup. He scored 10 that season. 01-02 he scored 12 in the league. How anyone can sit there and compare him to Freddie Ljungberg is just mad. And if go on, mate. Go on.
If he was as good as Freddie Ljungberg, he'd be playing every bloody week.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's nonsense. It's a nonsense comment. These people really need to sort their lives out because they talk absolute pony. Really. You know,
mate, I've just typed in on a Twitter search Reiss Nelson. Some of the tweets are just ridiculous. Like, but this is exactly why I can't stand them, Jez. Yeah, it's exactly why I can't stand them. I see another tweet about Martin Odegaard. Yeah, another one about Martin Odegaard today. Like, some of the crap these people come out with is just insane. That's not it. That's the same tweet. I don't know where I've put it, but it was basically saying that he's got 75 appearances or 73 appearances. He's scored like 13 goals. He's got 9 assists. He's got 9 pre-assists. Then he's got 36 or something X pre-assist, which is expected. What does that? What? Expected pre-assist?
What is a pre-assist?
And what is an expected pre-assist?
You know it is. You know it is. I think Eamon Dunphy. He was a pundit alongside Liam Brady and Johnny Johnson, the Republic of Ireland, Radio Telesveren on their football show. One of the things he says is just so true. People who use stats, in the country circles or just in terms of print, they don't watch the game. They don't know the game. Just worm their way in, and that's what they do. You have to, and that's the problem in Twitter now, is that when people do come out with statistics, online or just to back up their argument, they haven't seen Freddie play. They don't watch too much of Martin Odegaard. What they do is that they see the reports, and then someone whose job it is to get his, do the sort of like possession, tackles one, headers one, jaws one. That's all it is, and that's the thing. But the reason why they think they're smart is because some pork chops who are managers or coaches, head coach, what they call them, base it on that, because scouts are so lazy nowadays. They don't go and watch a player. They just go and look at the statistical data, which is set up by these new owners that have come from abroad, and that's it. They buy a player on that rather than watch him play. And that, and
Mate,
so
it's mad. Yeah, I found the stats. Yeah, I found this stat. Look at the state of this. I can't zoom in on it. Yeah, Martin Odegaard's played 75 games, 13 goals. So that is a goal one every 5.76 games. Yeah. Well, that's hardly fucking ripping up any trees, is it? Right.
No.
Then he's got an assist, which is why he was brought into the team, to be the creative spark. Yeah. He's got an assist once every 8.33 games. Well, again, that's hardly ripping up any trees. Pre-assists have been put into this tweet to make it sound like he actually does more, because he's the pass before the final pass. Okay, well, should we go all the way back to the fucking goalkeeper then, when we do a team goal from back to front, and give him a pre? Get in the bin. Yeah, then pass directly leading to a shot. 59 in 75 games. That's less than one a game. And this is the creative spark. Pass leading to an expected pre-assist. How do you work out what an expected pre-assist is? Can somebody please explain that to me? Because a pre-assist is the pass before the last pass, yeah, that leads to the goal. So how do you work out, a pre-assist?
Lee and Chase, you know what you both have just described?
I'll tell you what we've just described. We've described robots tweeting.
Three-level stats. What the hell is that?
Much worse, though. Much worse.
What is that?
I'll tell you what you guys described. You just described a luxury player, because, and I say it's true. I say it's factually. Over the years, since the 70s, we talk about all these great players, and I say, because don't get me wrong, I love naturally gifted footballers, but you talk about all these players, Rodney Miles, Stan Bowles, Alan Hudson, I love the bits, Frank Worthington, George Best, Gazza, all these players. In essence, they're luxury players, because they got. But the thing is that if you want to be, factual and go by stats, 40% of the time they're excellent, but the other 60% they're not in the game. And I think that's the thing with these creative players. A lot of the times, because defenses is well drilled, or because they're in terms of like their application and everything, they're so intent on trying to create something, it doesn't always come off. And so, Martin Odegaard is a luxury player. And so those stats are what you expect from a luxury player. So people shouldn't. But what happens with fans, it's the same with Mesut, is that whenever they do something, that's it. They got a contract for life. But the problem is, Kevin De Bruyne is kicking these, kind of statistics. I can't even say the word, statistics into the bin, because he's doing it every game. For a creative player, De Bruyne is probably performing in about 70% of his matches. Doesn't matter whether he plays for Man City or not. Even for Belgium, he is producing the goods for 70% of the time. So it's very rare for a creative player or luxury player to do that. And that's kicking people in the bin. I used to always argue with Ozil fans about De Bruyne versus Ozil. And I wasn't slagging Ozil. I just said he's a luxury player, and most of the time, luxury players don't deliver. And sometimes you can't accommodate them, because, 9 out of 10 times you're carrying them. Now, I think for the last few games, and Arteta agrees with me because he keeps on substituting Odegaard, that we have been carrying him, and that we've taken him off and we've become more compact in order to protect the result, because we can't play with 10 players. That's what substitutions are about, right or wrong.
Can I just say, to my mind, I'm old school, I'm old fashioned. To me, the only statistic that actually matters is how many goals are scored and that you win games.
And how many you concede. That's it.
Football is a very, very simple thing. If you score 4 and that your opposition scores 1, you win. And that's a statistic. And at the end of the season, if you've won 41 games and the second place team has only won 38, you win the league. So that's a statistic. Now, I can't be bothered all this XG, X this, X that. It's bullshit, man. Come on.
It doesn't help when you've got Sky Sports putting out a tweet the other day, Jez, saying, who's the most successful Premier League manager in the Premier League era? Hello, the one with the most titles. Like, what kind of tweets that? What kind of questions that? But they've put that out. The amount of people in the comments that were saying Klopp, Jose, Wenger. Yeah, it's like you do know that Fergie's won 13 league titles, right? Like, this is the era we live in football, mate. It's all stats. It's not about winning. It's about other factors.
Yeah. The thing is, a lot of people that a lot of your target audience. We're going to say your target audience varies, but the people who come up to me in the street and say hello, well done, we love what you do, elite, I'll be between the ages of 25 up till 60. So those people won't buy Sky no more because they think, oh, I've had enough, so I won't put money in the Murdoch's hands, or they just think it's clickbait. They certainly wouldn't watch, some of the people they get on Sky, certain YouTubers, like the Saturday Social Show. So all this sort of, and that's not slagging them off. It's just the fact, because these guys come and tell me this at matches. It's not me making it up. They come and I tell you guys all the time. I get, have conversations on every form of public transport on the way to the game, after the game, and sometimes when I'm on the street. The corridor of fans that watch this show are between a certain age group. They don't. Yeah, so they're not going to be have any knowledge or any knowledge of these little things that Sky do. Like in the morning. Oh yeah, what's this? But a lot of TV nowadays, Sky, BT, is aimed towards younger audience who watch YouTube, and for instance, you still got a bit of a younger audience. So a lot of young people have got shorter attention spans. So they get out of this sort of popcorn sort of delivery from Sky, BT, and all these other shows. You know what I mean? Get popcorn presenters like the Saturday Social Show. That's popcorn TV.
Well, it's like when they have Carragher and Neville, and they handpick people to go and sit and debate with them. Like
back in the day. Do you know back in the day? Swap Shop with Noel Edmonds, Craven. These sort of shows like Soccer AM, Saturday Social. It's just like Swap Shop, or back in the day, when you had children's TV in the holidays. Why don't you remember that? Yeah. And they went every area of the country. That's what these TV's like. It's not aimed at us three, especially me, and in most and probably you, Jess. And that's we need to cut. That's why we're very thankful to you, Lee, that you've given me and Jez a voice, and that you haven't forgotten us, because you could easily have gone down the market. A lot of YouTubers gone down, and probably got tripled the subscribers by going that way.
Mate, if I rated Mesut Ozil, if I rated Mikel Arteta, and I just did anything in terms of any people on the channel, that don't have a clue about football, that just want to sit there and chat absolute rubbish and start laughing at every single other team when they lose. Start bigging up every single one of our players as the best player in the position that they play in the league, and then make excuse after excuse when we lose and don't finish top 4 and don't win a league and don't do this. I'd probably have 500,000 subs.
Yeah,
real talk. Right. Yeah, especially with the Mesut Ozil one. Yeah, and Arteta, especially with them two. But this is the thing. Yeah, like people I have on this channel know football. They know football very well. It's not just about saying everyone else is crap. We're great. Eddie Nketiah is brilliant. Reiss, give him a contract. No. We've been in a fortunate position due to our age that we've actually seen proper footballers at this football club. Yeah, and we've actually seen proper footballers in general. Like I was on a show the other day with Rance, and we were showing Matt Letizia compilations. Wow. Yeah, one of the greatest footballers I've ever seen. Yeah, that guy was absolutely class. How many times do you see now a player flicking the ball over somebody's head, then flick it over again, and then volley it? How many times do you see a free kick taken and then the player scoop it up and then slap it top bins? You don't. How many times do you see a Ryan Giggs actually jinking past 4 or 5 players? Look at the goal he scored against us in '99.
Yeah.
How many times do you see that? You don't see that in football anymore. We're very fortunate that we've seen proper players. So then when I get told you've got an agenda against Odegaard, I have. My agenda is to call out bang average footballers when they're bang average pretty much every week. Like, you've got an agenda against Arteta. Yeah, mate. I've seen proper managers. Like, I don't need to sit here and pander down to these people that say, oh, Odegaard's this, and Reiss Nelson's this, and Eddie's this, and this player's great. Mate, I've seen some of the greatest footballers in the world ever. Yeah, and they're up there as greats for the rest of my lifetime. This era that we live in now, there's hardly any footballers that will go down as greats. Hardly any. Yeah, because the way the game's changed, it's not about having footballing technique anymore. It's about if you can run fast and you are the first line of press. Like, I see something today that James Benj wrote, yeah? Right? I didn't even bother reading it. I just see the tweet that somebody sent me. And I was like, are you actually serious, mate? Like, real talk. I want to highlight this real quick, yeah? He put a tweet out saying, Arsenal and England look like they've survived the heart-in-mouth moment with Bukayo Saka. Will they next time? The physicality that Forest applied to him from the outset is becoming the norm for Saka. I had a look back at this season, 16 fouls on him. Okay, mate, he's had 16 fouls on him this season. And so then I've seen other people moaning and crying and bitching about it, saying it's a disgrace, the FA are not protecting him and this and that. But hold on a minute. Breaking news for everybody watching, football is a contact sport. Yeah, more to follow. Like, Kevin De Bruyne gets fouled more than Bukayo Saka. Neymar gets fouled more than Bukayo Saka. Jack Grealish gets fouled more than Bukayo Saka. Yeah, Harry Kane probably gets fouled more than Bukayo Saka. Where's the outcry from puppet journos on their side? Why do you feel the need that you have to sit there and go, oh, well, he's been fouled 16 times this season, and he's probably played about 16 games. How many games we had? Maybe I think he's
featured in every game this season, and he's probably. You'd have think he won't feature it this Thursday against Zurich, but the fact is that it's a compliment if they're singling him out, because Mick Arteta and quite a lot of Arsenal believe he is their most dangerous player, and from what I've seen, he is always the player who demands the ball, tries and takes people on, got the pace to drive into the box or have a shot or have a turn. So that's what happens. If people can't stop you legitimately or mark out the game, they're going to take you down. It's football, man. Give it back. Bergie did. Sorry, Bergkamp did. So did Henri. I'm sure Bukayo in a few years' time, you'll be seeing a few bookings and maybe odd red card because he's going to say, I made enough. No referee's going to protect him.
Maybe they should take a look at the 3 dives he's done this season instead of the 16 fouls he's had on him. Yeah, maybe they should worry more about his diving than they should about his fouls, like the fouls he's having on him. That's ridiculous. But this is the whole narrative that always gets pushed with Arsenal is, oh, teams go too hard on Arsenal. Yeah, oh, we're the victims of FA, VAR conspiracies all the time. And it's like, mate, there's no conspiracy. Football is a contact sport. Fouls happen, and he's one of our better players. Yeah, you could argue he's our best player. Well, he has been based on our fan votes for the last 2 seasons. So, best player in the team gets singled out for a little bit of rough and tumble. Whoopie-doo. Get over it. That's football. Yeah, Harry Kane gets fouled how many times a game?
Every game.
Exactly. I don't see no Tottenham fans crying that he's getting harsh treatment. Yeah, and he's getting all these fouls on him. Every time I see Jack Grealish play, he's getting chopped down left, right, and centre 3-4 times a game. Every time I watch De Bruyne, it's the same. Every time I watch Neymar, it's the same. I don't see all the fans of their clubs or I say journalists, they're puppets, crying about them and about Harry Kane being fouled and singled out. Players get singled out. Yeah, we see it with Mohamed Salah this season. Yeah. Stick it on him from early, he don't want it.
Yeah.
Simple as that. That what's his name? Lisandro Martinez. Yeah, kicked him straight away in the game. Yeah, and it's funny because Graham Souness was talking about this on TalkSport today. Yeah, and he said, yeah, he stuck it on him, and now Salah's worried. Well, where's Lisandro? So I actually went back and looked at it, and he did stick it on him. He stuck it on Jesus in the first couple of minutes. Yeah, in the game against us, Jesus tried to lash one out at him in the penalty box, and he was just like, "You sure, mate?" Top players get singled out for rough and tumble. That's life. That's football.
Some of these people, Lee, need to go back and research. Go back and look at some old videos of the 70s, early 70s.
You're living in the past years. That's dinosaur behaviour. Football's evolved. The landscape's changed.
That's all they ever say. Man United, Wolverhampton. and we had Derek Dugan up against Bobby Charlton, and Bobby Charlton against the most crunching tackle, one of my top 5 ever, yeah, against Jeff Astle, yeah. Good God, those, you could hear on the match of the day cracks, but they both got up and got on with the game.
Look at the cup final, Wimbledon versus Liverpool. Vinnie Jones, straight from kickoff, clattered him. Absolutely clattered him.
Yeah.
All the, 1960 cup final replay. That was just fuggery. But I remember a tackle in, I think it was who was it? I think it was like New Year's. I think it was against Nottingham Forest in the 87-88 season. Nottingham Forest beat us 2-0. Wilson and I think Franz Carl's playing that game. And basically Stuart Pearce and David Rokos winning a tackle. And I swear now, I'm no word of exaggeration, I thought a bomb went off when they both collided. Both of them got big legs. Psycho Pearce had probably the biggest fight I've ever seen. They both went in for 50-50 tackle. I had a big bang. Both of them got up. Nothing happened. And that was in 87, when at Highbury when I was only 15. And I heard the crack. And I think that's the thing. I think the problem is that since Fabregas has come to the side, and we went down tiki-taka in 2005, we went from being an Arsenal hardman to the soft centre. So what was happening is that a lot of Arsenal fans, plus our dear manager Arsene, wanted more protection from referees. And because Arsene's very articulate and he's very eloquent in the way he speaks, and because a lot of people in football think that he changed English football for the better, they listen to Arsene. And then that's what's been happening, and that's educated the crowd. You need to be in the West End where I sit at home games. Every time an Arsenal player gets tackled, there's this group of guys going, "Oh, ref, book him, book him, book him." So it's not just it's not online that you try sitting where I sit. Every tackle, they want a red card, especially when it's on Saka, Martinelli, and Odegaard. They are screaming, and it could be just taking a ball off his feet and running off of it. They want to foul. So it's the mentality. It's not just online; it's in the crowds as well. We've been reared from the Adams, Vieira, and Petit days where we revelled in the fact that we had, 80 sending off under Arsene Wenger, probably exaggerating, probably in the 70s, to let's not tackle our players. How dare you tackle an Arsenal player? It's not fair. So that's the mentality that it's not new, Lee. It's been prevalent since 2005.
Yeah, mate, it's mad. It's actually mad though. The way it's been diluted, yeah. And it's like I said, everything's a conspiracy. Everything's like, oh, they're tackling too hard. It does not help when you have these little puppets that get their foot in the door and sit there saying, yes, Arteta, yes, Mikel, no, Mikel, 3 bags full, Mikel. And then they're putting out dumb articles like that. Oh, let me break down the 16 times Bukayo Saka's been fouled. Like, he's getting... Why? Yeah, why? Yeah, I guarantee Gabriel Jesus has been fouled more than Saka this season. Fucking 100%, I'm adamant. Yeah, I see him get fouled about 5 times in one game. Probably more than that against Tottenham. Yeah, he was getting wiped out left, right and centre. Yeah, why don't they break down the 4 yellow cards that Gabriel Jesus should have got in that game that he never got? Yeah, why don't they break that down? Because that don't fit the agenda and the narrative of, oh, poor Arsenal, they're getting harsh treatment from other teams. Let me tell you something, right? That team that come and played us yesterday at bottom of the table, they're fighting for their lives. What, and you think they're just going to turn up and roll over and die? They want to stick it on you. You should know this as a footballer. If you've been in and around football and you've made it to the level where you're a Premier League professional footballer, yeah, trust me, you will know that a team that are down the bottom of the table, they're not going to come and play nice. You're going to have to be on your game. You know, when you play Tottenham, it's going to be a bit fiery. You know, when you play certain other teams, Man United, for example, it's going to be fiery. Yeah, so you have to be strong enough to deal with that. Now, I know it's not Bukayo Saka that's coming out crying about it. Yeah, but this is where I find it funny. Other people are offended on behalf of a footballer that said nothing. It makes no sense.
It's a mentality that it's not. You can't put the genie back in the bottle. You can't go back to You know, my experience of watching, you know, hearing the thud of that tackle between Stuart Pearce and David Rocastle, back to, you know, like little niggly players. You know, Steve Williams, very good player, very silky, played attractive, but he was a dirty little, you know, player if he wanted it. You know, you look at all the other players who could have it, really have it. You know, who a bit niggly, and that, I think what's happening. Players like that are now part of the past. You know, you go on a little podcast nowadays where they yearn for the past, where, you know, players like, you know, Terry Hurlock, you know, Rob, you know, Moscat, you know, Kevin Moscat, players like that, in Neil Ruddock, who actually revelled and probably had a bad day if they didn't crunch someone's tackle or injure a player. Those days are gone now. They've gone there. We got
same as Roy Keane and Souness and Vieira, players like that. They loved getting stuck in and sticking on them straight away. Yeah, Vinnie Jones is like we just said a minute ago, first, second. Yeah, as soon as they kicked off the ball, who was it? Was it who was the guy?
Chelsea. It was against Sheffield United for Chelsea, where he got booked straight from the kickoff when he took out I don't know, from Sheffield United, but he's playing Chelsea at Sheffield United, took the guy out. And I think the thing about it now is that there's a lot of influence from Europe. Remember, we're getting a lot of players from the continent who are not just coming here for the financial rewards. They're coming here now because a lot of teams are playing attractive football. We've got foreign coaches in there where getting stuck in isn't going to happen. You know, referees will protect players to the whole. For instance, you know, let's not forget, Lee, we've got North London derbies between Arsenal and Tottenham where players are hugging each other before the game. So before the game, it's going to be soft on the pitch, and that's how football is today.
Do you remember the classic one? You remember all this? The classic Wimbledon Tottenham game where Vinnie Jones grabs Paul Gascoigne's nuts.
Yeah, I remember that from behind, cupped him from behind.
Yeah, I mean, that's how football was back in time. It was dirty. It was a dirty game, and you know, but they were proper hard men, proper footballers. You know, I mean, Paul Gascoigne in the FA Cup when he did his cruciate ligament, went straight in, foot up, done his knee, out.
And I think that's the thing now, is that I think, you know, VAR's around, for instance, so there's no, like, you know, Big Brother's watching your every move. You can miss a tackle, but if you show studs, you're off the pitch. You know, you can't, you know, do anything to someone off the ball. You know, Diego Costa, I only saw it today, but Ben Mee, hard man defender from Manchester, hard lad. Diego Costa goes into his face, lifts his head up just like that, a little flick. He's going down as though he's been killed. So you can't say to the foreigners, English players are doing that. Hard man like Ben Mee, alleged hard man, going down. And I think that's the thing. That, you know, the way
Kenny, I was surprised yesterday that tackle on Xhaka. The guy got the ball, but he followed through and took his ankle. That could have been an end of season for that for Xhaka. Broken ankle or severe ligament damage. I'm surprised that only got a yellow and VAR didn't look at that. I don't know what your opinion is.
VAR, the thing is, VAR this season, a lot of it nowadays, it's very rare. It's factual. It's all about someone's opinion, and that's why we're critical of VAR, because what's happening now is that it's gone soft. When it first came out, brilliant, but now when they use words subject to another person's opinion in Stockley Park, we're having problems now, and we're going to keep on having problems. Let it be factual. If you're not sure, then leave it to the referee on the pitch. Don't change the decision. You're not sure. If you're not sure about offside, you're not sure about sending off, not sure about a penalty, then there's 4 people. There's 3 people on the pitch on the sidelines. You've got a referee on the pitch and 2 assistants. Surely that's enough for them to make a decision if VAR can't get his act together, if VAR is not sure. If you're not sure,
totally agree.
Don't send a signal to the referee. Leave the game to the referee.
But that's the thing. Like the way VAR's come in, I never wanted it to come in. Yeah, and I said this to you guys the other day, and I've said it on other shows as well. When they're taking 5 minutes to decide a goal is offside, like they did in that Tottenham game the other night, And I don't think that was offside. I can't lie. That game against Sporting Lisbon, and for me, that's never offside. The ball went backwards. It is a defender goes forward, he scores. It's a goal. If it had gone in line or forward, for me, that's offside. Yeah, because Kane was in an offside position, but it's a different phase of play. It's gone backwards, hit a player. Oh yeah, but then the contact with that player wasn't intentional. Who cares? If I take a shot and it deflects in off of a statue defender standing there and it goes in, you don't disallow the goal because it weren't an intentional deflection, do you? Like. No. Some of the laws of this game they have tinkered with way too much. When I was growing up, you could pass the ball back to the keeper and they could pick the ball up. Right? Yeah, they could, couldn't they? I remember Liverpool used to all the time to Grobbelaar and that. It just used to wind everyone up. Yeah, but that rule, I kind of understand why they changed that, because it stops time wasting. It stops teams just staying on the edge of their box and just passing it to and fro to keeper. Yeah, I get that. But when they change the offside law every year, when they interpret the offside law in about 50 million different ways, and then you put 2 different referees and VAR people in charge in 2 separate games that kick off at the same time, the same instant happens in both. One's now a penalty, yeah, one's not, or one's offside and one's not. You know, it's just ridiculous. Yeah, it is ridiculous. And the way they're doing it now, like if you have to get a Rizzler paper out, yeah. To decide whether it's offside, then just give the goal, mate. Yeah, and give the goal. And the amount of times I see it as well, when the line that they put up is thick, yeah, but then other times it's thin. It's almost like they're trying to justify that we're going to give this offside because we've called it now. And when that one that Kane had the other night, yeah, there was 4 seconds left of that game when he scored that in that of the 5-minute stoppage time. That took nearly 5 minutes to suss that out. So why didn't they just add that 5 minutes back on then?
Yeah, exactly.
They did it. The amount of times I see it happen with VAR, mate, and they never had it on. I thought the rules were, or the laws were, every substitute's 30 seconds you add on, right? So now, if you've got 5 subs, yeah, straight away you're looking at a long time for each team. So that's 10. Yeah, that's 300 seconds. 300 seconds, yeah, right. So now you're looking at 5 minutes straight away. Thank you. Can I smoke in here? Yeah, so it's now 5 minutes straight away. That's without any fouls and breakages in the game. That's without any VAR decisions. They never had on 10 minutes.
No.
If both teams make 5 subs. Eddie Howe made 6 at the weekend. Yeah, they had 6 at the weekend because the goalkeeper for Villa had concussion. Yeah, so they were allowed to sub him off. So that meant the other team get an extra sub now. Yeah, so he had 6. Well, there's 3.5 minutes straight away. Yeah. It's mad, mate. This football is so. This comment that came up earlier saying it's sterile is the perfect answer to it. It's sterile. They've tinkered too much, and they're now trying to take every single decision as, yep, 100. We have to get everything spot on. No, that's part of the fun. Like, yes, everyone wants it to go in their favour, but at the same time, when you've got a player that handballs it like Gabriel Magalhaes has done a few times this season. Yeah, and they don't give a penalty, but then Man United get given a penalty against PSG a season or so ago when Kimpembe is not even looking and jumped and turned his back and his arms are down, and they give a pen. Make your minds up. I've seen that handball where Emerson Royale this season against Newcastle the other week. His hand's up here. They chop the ball back, it hits him on the arm, no penalty. Well, how's that not a penalty?
But your thing is, we got the biggest footballing tournament in the next 3 weeks. And trust me, you're going to see more and more controversy in that tournament. I think that's the thing. That's what's going to happen now with football. You know, there's always going to be talking points. You know, sometimes in football, you've got to be careful what you wish for. Had fans, pundits, managers respect to what referees' decisions, we wouldn't have needed VAR. It was them. Right. It was them who said the referee needed more help. It was them who made sure that referees were more professional because they said that, you know, they're only amateur and they do it out of love. So we've asked for a lot of things in football, but we don't like what we're going to get. We always wanted to give the attacking side more sort of impetus, and yet if it doesn't go in people's favour, there's complaints, and I think that's the problem. We should have, in hindsight, left it to the referees to do the job. No matter how good or bad they were, we all know that it evens itself out. Now with VAR, instead of, you know, leaving it the way it was, leaving it to be factual, whether we liked it or not, we now want to change the laws because when you change the laws, it becomes part of the interpretation, and that's what we've done with VAR. We've left it alone. It was just been factual, and we've been going about our business, and that's the problem. That Spurs goal, unfortunately for Tottenham fans and football fans in general,
totally agree with that.
It needed 5 minutes. It needed 5 minutes for me, because I looked at it first. I thought he was in front, and then I had to look at it again to see where he was behind the ball, and then I had to look at it again to see where it came up, whether the defender either
but Kenny, as soon as the ball goes backwards on the first replay, and you see the ball go backwards, straight away he's not offside because he's not interfering with play. He's in line or offside. I think he was offside, but the ball never went in line or forward. It went back, so he's not offside because the ball didn't go to him. He's offside in an offside position. I'll give you another example. If you're stood on the penalty spot in the opposition goal mouth here, right, and the goalkeeper's Jez, and he's got the ball and he boots it up, but your team don't. I'm on your team, Jez is on the opposition team, so we're both shooting towards Jez. Jez kicks the ball out. Our midfielder wins the ball. I'm now running between the lines of the two centre-backs. You're still not moved off the penalty spot, by the way. So you're miles offside. Yeah. But the ball's not coming towards you. It's come to me, and I'm running in between the lines of two centre-backs. Yeah. You shift yourself over 5 yards to the right, face the goal. I square it to you, and you tap it in. Is that offside? It's not, is it?
Yeah,
because you weren't interfering with play. But it's the same with Kane. Kane was not interfering with play because the ball didn't go to him; it went backwards. Yeah, I can see why people want it to be offside or think it's offside. I get it.
Yeah, but but the thing about it, right, is that a lot of people are going to differ with that thing, because I always believed that if it came off an opposition player, then what's happened is that is a next phase of play where the player's onside. Yeah. But I didn't realise until it was explained by people, Gallagher, that the opposition, it has to be some sort of a back pass or a pass intended for another player in the box for Kane to be active. That's why I thought it was a goal. But there was times when I looked at it where I thought, he's behind, but when the ball, he looked offside. See, I got confused by it because I thought it was a goal, because of those sort of things. Because for me, it was all I always believed if it came off a player, the opposition defender, then it doesn't matter whether it's intentional or not. But I learned something new now.
But see, this is where I think there's a grey area with that, right? I'm not even going to say grey area. I think they got it wrong, right? If that ball gets crossed into the box, right, and it takes deflection, and then a defender puts his foot out, it bounces off of that defender's foot when it's first whipped in, and it goes to Emerson Royale, who was offside when that ball was first whipped. It hits the defender and still ends up at Royale. He's offside because the initial contact for the ball, he was offside, and the balls ended up going to the player that was offside. Where I think they've got that wrong is the ball wasn't going to the player offside. He was onside. The ball's then gone backwards, whether it's intentional or not. The player's hit the ball, the defender. Now the player that was offside now becomes active. Second phase of play, goal. How that took them 5 minutes. 5 minutes. When they know the laws better than us. They know them inside out. Most of them are all ex-referees, aren't they? So they know the laws inside out. How that took them 5 minutes to decide that, for me, shows that ain't a clear and obvious error. Yeah. So that shouldn't have been offside. And listen, people are sitting and go, "Oh, why are you praising? Why are you back in Tottenham?" No, I'm talking about the rules and the laws of the game. That, for me, if that was Arsenal, I'd be going mad about that. Because I'd be like, well, it doesn't matter what team it is. I'm a football fan. That was not an offside goal for me. How they've come to that decision is mad. And you're going to see that again happen at some point in this season, and it'll stand.
You see it at the World Cup. Can
you imagine us in the World Cup final when they do that? What's going to happen at some point is it's going to cost a team a Champions League final win. It's going to cost them a World Cup. It's going to cost them an FA Cup. And at some point, these clubs are going to take it further and start going down the channels of like lawsuits and stuff like that. Because this is a lot of money we're talking about here as well. Let's be real with it. Football's a massive, massive amount of money coming in for every win, especially in the Champions League.
they were saying the same things when we weren't trusting the referees. That's what was the problem is.
That's why they've now shut everyone up and brought VAR in. So it's now a deflection tactic. Now what they're going to deflect us with again.
But remember, a few years back, you know, before the World Cup in Moscow, in Russia in 2018, there's about hundreds of thousands of people like yourself having the same competition that referees are costing teams promotion, qualifications for Europe, i.e. be the Europa League or Champions League, or costing teams titles. They need more help. Well, we've got the help, haven't we, with VAR? And it's still down to interpretation. And I think that's the thing. The problem with football is that we've been behind in other sports when it comes to technology. Rugby had technology years back. Cricket, you know, we've only started having technology in the last, was it 10 years? We're behind other sports, well behind, and that's why we're getting angry, because it's new and no one knows what's going on. Whilst other sports, they're settled because they've been doing it for years. You know, rugby, touchline, you know, like tries, whether the foot went out or not. You know, tennis with a Hawkeye. You know, cricket with the DRS and the third umpire. And that's the problem with football. Football's only got itself to blame because it refused to rely on technology because they knew best. And now they're getting it, they're complaining.
Totally agree.
Yeah.
Miles behind.
Yeah,
miles behind. Let's move on. Big up to everybody who's watching. Smash the likes up. Subscribe to Jez's channel. The link's in the description. Follow Kenny's Insta. That's also in there. Follow my TikTok. Pinned comment. Let's talk about the fixtures coming up over Christmas. Forget the ones for now. The ones coming up over Christmas and New Year. Kenny, let me start with you on this because I know you're passionate about this. The kickoff times for Boxing Day and New Year's Eve, mate. Talk to me.
Well, first and foremost, I've always been an advocate for these games for us to replicate what our cousins in Europe are doing in terms of having a midwinter break. And I actually underline it now because I went round to a lot of fans who I had conversations with on the way to the match, and I had fans who were watching it, couldn't get to the game, so watching it at home through various VPNs, and fans who genuinely, you know, maybe it's illness or can't afford it or they just can't get the time, so they have to watch it at work through a TV or Sky. I've had conversations with all of them, and I've always said armchair fan 2, match going fan 0. And I think that's the problem. We don't have a level playing field between all the stakeholders. We know, because at the end of the day, the armchair fan puts food on the players' table and he puts food on the table of the executives. But the problem is that you're having these fixtures when there's no travel. There are no trains on Boxing Day. The only time there's trains is trains going through Victoria and Gatwick because they're airport routes. So basically, fans, you know, by default are getting those trains. But what all the other lines? They're not getting how are they getting these games? You know, obviously,
Kenny, can I just correct you on that? I know for a fact that on Boxing Day, if I wanted to get to that Arsenal West Ham game, I've got to get a coach from Horsham Station, Gatwick Airport, and then change coach to Red Hill because the line is closed at Gatwick Airport because of the £12 million whatever. I don't know. I'm probably wrong to say that they're doing a massive, huge refurbishment of Gatwick Airport train station. So I looked at that and I thought, I fancied going, but I've got no chance. I've got no chance because I've got bus East Croydon, change to London Bridge because the East Croydon line from East Croydon up to
Gatwick.
No, East Croydon East Croydon up to begins with the B. Can't think of the name of the bleeding place now. Anyway, it doesn't matter. It's shut. So it's East Croydon, London Bridge. It's a nightmare. And I know people that have got season tickets, holders, that travel up from Worthing, Brighton, and that. And the thing is, getting home, they're not going to be able to go because it's only
see, that's the thing. People are talking about the 8 p.m. game, but hang on here. It's the whole day. The whole day, there were no trains. People were assuming that it was like the 1980s where Arsenal played Tottenham at 11:30 at White Hart Lane, the Highbury, and everyone lived in Haringey, isn't it? It doesn't. It's not like that. We laugh about Man United fans coming from Surrey. Well, hang on here. We've got Arsenal fans coming from Devon, Wales,
Manchester,
the North East. And that's the thing with these games. If you can't get fans to these games, then why can't you not have the game? Why can't you just say, right, Christmas Day, if you must, have it Christmas Day off, and have Boxing Day off, and the day afterwards, and then have your own games afterwards. But if you can't ferry fans to and from the game, and you're having a situation where fans who are season ticket holders can't go to the game because they just can't get down there, and they're thinking, well, that's the game we're going to miss, then it's a problem. Because what's happening now at football clubs is that if you don't go to a certain amount of games, you can't get rid of the ticket. They're threatening to take your season tickets off you if you don't turn up the matches. They don't care. Arsenal don't care that
they've got a whole line of people waiting to take them off of you. They're waiting to buy them.
And that's the thing with the football, these games, these TV companies, they don't care about the match going fan. All they care about is the armchair fan who will pay £5.99 to watch it on Amazon, or will be contemplating BT £25 to watch them have one Premiership game a week. And then the people on Sky, where to get a nice little attractive family package, pay 120 quid.
I wonder if they threaten to take the executive boxes away from the rich and famous that don't go every week. Because I know there's a lot of famous rappers and other celebrities out there that actually have executive boxes at Arsenal. I wonder, and even club level, like obviously club level is what, $3,500 a pop for a season. What if they don't turn up? Do they threaten to take them away? Well, probably not, because they've already got the money off of the executive box. I think you have to sign up for 3 years for an executive box before you can get one.
It's just isn't fair.
Remember last season, I was going to go to, and I'm glad I didn't because we got battered. I got stuck and I ended up in a pub with 3 guys who were coming up from Littlehampton way. Now, they're season ticket holders. I think I forget what they told me they were. I can't remember if they're red or gold. I can't remember now. No, they're not going to be able to get to that game.
Exactly.
They'll have to get up from Littlehampton on the Victoria line, up to Horsham, change bus, and then get up to East Croydon, and then can't get to Victoria, the easiest route, if you're coming from down this part of the world. Go to the London Bridge, mess about on tube, up there. They're going to have to leave before the end of the game to get a train back, then bus again. It's pathetic, man. 8 o'clock kickoff from Boxing Day. Come on, that's shocking.
The whole program, unless you like I said, give these men and women overtime and have trains in those days. Don't have these games. Simple. Don't have these games. Let's have a level playing field. We're customers as well. I fully understand. I respect the fact that I know a lot of you guys, when you wake up, you want to eat your turkey sandwiches with last night's mayonnaise, and you probably got a hangover. You farted all night and did all sorts of things, and then you come up. Oh God, I've got a bit of football. I don't have to watch Tom Thumb for the 50th time. I can go and watch the football. I get it, but what about us? We're customers as well. What
but Kenny, I've said this to you 1,001 times before, mate. Yeah, so I'll say it 1,000,000 a second. Right? Arsenal fans that attend matches at the ground make up less than 1% of our global fan base. Why the fuck do they care about you? They don't.
Well,
You're less than 1% of the global fan base. So you're just, oh, well, they'll turn up anyway. And if they don't turn up, what we do is we'll know that, because when they scan their tickets in the turnstile, they'll come up on our system, and then we'll sell their ticket to someone else and revoke their ticket. Yeah.
Well, I say, you say they cared about us about 10 years ago, because, 10 years ago, when there was a tube strike on Boxing Day, when we were actually incidentally playing West Ham, they called it a game off that side, didn't they? Because there's because the stewards couldn't get to the games.
You know better than anyone. You go every other week to the Emirates, yeah, or sometimes every week if we're playing twice a week at 2 home games in a row, right? You know better than anyone, yeah. You've had a season ticket for as long as you can remember, right? They didn't care about no fans being in that ground for 2 years, mate. Yeah, they still brought players. They were still paying the bill to the players for the wages. They were still paying the electrics. They were still paying everything else. Yeah. Since then, they've gone out and done even more. Though they've redecorated the badge outside the ground, like on the stadium. Yeah. Why don't you go and decorate the rest? Yeah, because nobody's crying about that yet. As soon as people start crying, the stadium's looking a bit tired, they'll start decorating it. Yeah, they're more interested in putting Wenger's statue up than they are decorating the stadium and the fan that goes in it.
Yes, that's another podcast, because he's refused to come to.
He's refused to go. Fuck it, we'll do 5 minutes on that. What do you make of that? He's refused to go. David Dean's come out. Anybody who doesn't know this, Wenger's going to get a statue outside the ground. Yeah, and listen, as much as I can't stand the geezer, and I think he's a massive, massive reason why modern football is completely fucked. Yeah, and fourth is a trophy and all of that. He did do some great things for this football club, and rightly so, deserves a trophy for that, i.e. a statue. Right? It's a fair play to him. He's going to get his statue. But because he didn't like the fact that he was forced out of the club, yeah, and wasn't offered a job upstairs, he feels very salty over that. Doesn't matter that he nicked over 100 million out the club. Do you know what I mean? His bank balance is very, very, very big. Let's be real. The last decade, he was nicking 10 million quid a year. 11 million quid a year for the last 10, right? That's 100 million quid. Right? Let's say he's got a great accountant. He's still going to have paid maybe nearly half of that in tax. So he's still pocketed 50 mil after tax, right? And he's salty because he didn't get offered a job upstairs. Mate, I think you've had enough out of us, don't you think? Yeah, and he don't want to come to the unveiling of his statue. David Dean said the other day, he still feels very hurt by it. Okay, well, I feel very hurt that we had to fucking listen to you tell everyone fourth's a trophy, and now a generation later, fourth's apparently a trophy still. Yeah, what happened to the arson that took over and wanted to win titles? Yeah, do you know what I mean? But what do you make of it all, Jez?
Mate, I could go into a serious one here, but I'm not going to, because I think it's disgraceful. Absolutely bloody disgraceful. That guy changed Arsenal Football Club to the point that a certain Herbert Chapman changed Arsenal Football Club and invented a new form of football that is still played today. And what Arsene Wenger achieved was amazing, and I'll give him utmost credit. I love the man, but he also took this club apart. The absolute bullshit that we ended up. We're moving to the Emirates to compete with the best. Really? Have we ever competed with the best? Getting smashed 5-1 by Munich.
8-2. Old Trafford. 6-0 on his 1000th game.
I don't see that. The guy took his pedal off the gas. Let's be honest. He was quite happy to have taken his 10-11 million pound a year and go along the rocky road, force a trophy. We're in the Champions League. It's all happy at home, people. Let's get the big wines out. Let's get the roast beef out. We're all happy and it's all nice. No, bollocks. The guy pissed me off. And if he doesn't turn up, Sod him. I don't care. I hope
Exactly.
nobody turns up failing. But we know we know we'll wheel out Ian Wright. We'll wheel out people like Martin Keown.
Keown will be
We'll
there.
wheel out all these
Ray
people.
Parler will be there. Cheers, guys.
Yeah, AFTV will be there with all their bullshit.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
we'll have all that
And it'll be another
bullshit.
Wenger love fest.
Yeah, it will be. And there'll be all the kids wanking behind the statue, and it's pathetic. Sorry.
But mate, I totally agree with you. But there's a lad in the chat, and big up Tyrone. Yeah, I appreciate you watching, mate. You totally disagree with everything we're saying, but at least you're watching and commenting, mate, and being not a prick about it. You're being respectful with it. Wenger was never going to be able to compete once that stadium had been built. The board lied to the fans. So did Arsene Wenger, mate. And if anyone believes that stadium was built so we could go and compete with the best in the world, you're too far gone. Like, real talk. The only reason we moved to that stadium was for two reasons. The globalization of football, Premier League football, because it was now starting to be beamed around the world. Yeah, in more and more countries. I remember somebody said in my chat, I think he was Indian, said that the year that we moved into that stadium, Premier League was beamed into their stadium, into their houses. Yeah. And then America and Canada and Singapore, Australia. So the globalization of football, they knew that was coming anyway. And the second reason was the Super League. Yes. They're the only two reasons we moved from Highbury to this stadium, because they knew that we could make an absolute fortune. And if they played it right, they could finesse people, right? And at the time, they could finesse us because we were the best team in the league. Yeah, 2002, when Peter Hillwood came out and said, we've got the finance from Barclays for Ashburton Grove, we were champions. Yeah, we were champions. Yeah, and it was like, or on the cusp of being champions. Can't remember exactly when it was in 02. Maybe we were champions. I don't know. But I remember.
Yeah, they changed the badge, didn't it? They changed the name badge.
But again, why did they take the Latin writing off of it? Yeah, because it doesn't appeal to a global fan base. Not everyone is Latin. Yeah, not everyone adheres and worships and looks on Latin as great. Not everyone does. Everyone's got their own faith and religion and backgrounds. Of course they have, yeah. Right? But this is the thing. If you look how many football clubs have changed their badge in the last 20 years, and if you look how many football clubs have taken off Latin writing off of their badge, which is big up to Everton, because as far as I know, they've still got theirs on there, right?
That will change. Once they move to their new ground.
100%. They need to appeal to more fans.
It's going to, and I think that's the thing with the whole situation regarding football. Again, it's a case of can't put the genie in the bottle. But in terms of Arsene Wenger, he's very happy to go to the Palladium and have everyone there, like Ian Wright, Alex Scott, but a statue he agreed to. Yeah, he agreed to it because he commissioned that. He agreed for it to be commissioned. I understand why he done it. I can understand the hurt, and he's probably angry at fans like us who are calling for his sacking. But one thing about my motto and the reason why the club is a star came about in terms of my mind and why I created that about 6 years ago. 6 years ago, is because of Arsene Wenger, because of Arsene Wenger fans who made out this man was bigger than our great club, and I wasn't standing for that. And that's the thing. Tony Adams turned up to his unveiling. Henri got most and so did Dennis. Herbert couldn't shout about it. But all I can say to Arsene Wenger, let me tell you one thing, right? And this is, I'm ripping off an advert, a milk advert. But if the way Arsene Wenger's fans go on, and the way Wenger encourages is Herbert Chapman, George Graham, who are they exactly? Accrington Stanley, who are they? That's exactly, who they are. There's a man, born in Coatbridge in 1944, who deserves a statue, and is not even getting a sniff in a statue, and yet we're indulging someone who's refusing to go. When George Graham was one of the guys who laid foundations for this for Arsene Wenger to become one of our greatest managers, yet he gets nothing. He managed Spurs, or he took a bit of a bung. Boo hoo! Every manager on the take. Oh, and he went to Spurs. Oh, right, we've got Pat Jennings from Spurs. He's got a suite.
You've got Sol Campbell from Spurs.
Yeah, but Pat Jennings has got a suite after him. He's a match
Yeah,
day.
he has, yeah.
And
he actually has.
he was still living in Broxbourne when he was Arsenal goalkeeper for 8 years, and he was still a Tottenham fan. He was a goalkeeper. So George Graham, one of the biggest gooners out there. You go to his house in Winchmore Hill. He's got a marble floor of the club. Yet we can't give him some sort of recognition. We're begging
quality manager. Mad, isn't it?
We're begging Wenger to come to an unveiling that he agreed to in the first place. Trot me out of this. Trot me out of this.
100%. I totally agree with you, Kenny. I think that just sums him up. Yeah, it sums him up. Right. And when people talk about George Graham took a little brown envelope, yeah, and took a backhander, yeah, this guy was on the take left, right, and centre. Yeah, this guy was conning the whole fucking footballing world that we couldn't compete. Yeah, because we had the stadium to pay. Getting Champions League football paid that stadium. It was 20 million quid a year. Gary Neville, I'll never forget this, sat on Sky Sports and said he's done a remarkable job because that stadium had to be paid off and it's very close to be paying off. Really? I'm pretty sure the Cronkies paid 240 million remaining debt and financed it into their own name about 4 years ago. So what remarkable job was he doing apart from trousering 11 million quid a year while telling everyone we can't compete financially when actually we could? Selling our best players every year. Telling Adi Bayor, yeah, when he come back after 30 odd goals the season before, you're in the reserves, mate. If you don't go to Man City. Yeah, at the time I was like, he snaked us. He's gone Man City. Yeah, cool, fair enough. Yeah, but then when it comes out and he sits on and does a 14-page spread in a newspaper and tells exactly what happened, you think, well, maybe he is still lying. But then when Van Persie comes out and says it on BT Sport, the exact same shit happened to him. Yeah, like, come on. Yeah, 20 million quid a year that stadium cost, right? And Champions League qualification paid for that. So where's the money? Where did the money go?
Where's it all gone, the money?
Exactly. Where did it go? He had shares in the club, yeah, which he sold to Kroenke. Yeah, I'm convinced he was getting a percentage of player sales. Sean Dyche was on that deal at Burnley. So if he was on that at Burnley, he definitely was at Arsenal.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
we're getting players in dirt cheap and selling them like Anelka. Now, Anelka's slightly different. Maybe that's a bad example because Anelka wanted to go. Yeah, but when you're getting like
Barry Monk, remember when he went to Middlesbrough, he was encouraged. He was basically ordering players to go with his agent because he can get so he can get a percentage of their fees if they ever get sold. So, you know, the fact is, a lot of money was transferred out of clubs and out of football into executives' boxes. So managers like, you know, George Graham, Sir Alex Ferguson had, he didn't do it, but I know Cloughy was accused of doing it. There's loads of managers doing it. The kit man at other clubs, not saying Arsenal, don't ban me, but kit men were getting bunks. Kit men were getting bunks at football clubs.
Oh, 100%. 100%. All through that era, everyone was on it, mate. Everyone was taking money. Yeah, everyone. But listen, we are going to wrap this up, people. I've got 2 more comments to quickly read out. Mr. B, big up to you, says, Kenny, do you think England will still get through the T20?
If they beat New Zealand, they'll definitely be on the way to semi-finals. Lose against New Zealand, you'll be seeing them in the Arrivals Lounge at Terminal 5 in about a few days' time.
There you go. And one more. Big up Chike. Thoughts on Liverpool's loss to Leeds United. Can I just say, what a winner. What a goal. That goal was quality, man. Yeah, that goal was class. What did you make of it?
I only saw it in Match of the Day. But yeah, that was class. That was class. Can I just say one thing, Lee? Sorry. I think Arsenal at times get it all wrong. There should be a statue also outside the stadium to a certain Bertie Mee, a gentleman that got our first European trophy and our first double. Why has he not got a statue? He changed the focus of with the way Arsenal were going. We went through the doldrums and he turned it around. All right, it didn't all end up very well. And this is what pisses me off about Arsenal Football Club. Seriously, they do not promote the history of this club. You go on the Arsenal website and you tell me where there is anything of consequence about the history of this club.
If you go on Arsenal website right now, Emil Smith Rowe stars in Colney Carpool with Frimpong.
Wow.
Yeah, it's on the website now. And they're driving round London Colney training ground on a fucking golf buggy.
See, that's the thing. But that's the thing about it. It's like, as I said before, the swap shop, why don't you delivery that we get from the media, especially clubs media, it's all about young fans and maybe globalization as well, because, you know, a lot of fans didn't support Arsenal because of Herbert Chapman and laid great foundations. They didn't support Arsenal because, you know, Peter Storey kicked, Jimmy Neighbour into the stands in the North London derby. They support Arsenal because Arsene Wenger did a very, very good job alongside his lieutenants, Henri, Vieira, and our foreign players like Perez, into sort of making Arsenal a global fan base. And I think that's the thing. If you think about it, a majority of our YouTubers are from abroad because they fell in love with the club, but they fell in love with the club because of success. So in terms of the history, it's on the website, but no one goes and sees it. You'll definitely go on the website, Arsenal website, and you will find the history. You'll find loads of like can I say it, photographs of teams alongside the charity shields and all the competitions we won. But it's not shouting at you. Like as Jez says, it should be shouting at you. The only time you ask for Arsenal history is if you go on a tour. They should be saying, right, on this day, blah, blah. And I think the website tends to do it, but they need to shout a bit more about our great club, because our great club...
Why don't they put it all over their Twitter accounts? Why don't they put it all over? Because it's all about Ray Parlour chatting absolute bollocks on a fucking American tour.
That's the thing.
Yeah?
That's the thing. That's why I've always said 1886, not 1996.
Exactly. Mad. But yeah, listen, on that bombshell, we are going to wrap up. We know Arsenal watch this this stream. They do every week, so big up to them. Maybe they'll take notes of what Jez and Kenny are saying. And big up to everybody who's watched live in the chat. I'll be back again tomorrow with Terry, 4 p.m. UK time. That should be fun, as always. I wonder what clickbait title he'll put out tomorrow. Lee Gunner's definitely Arteta in or something he'll put. Then straight after that, at 5 p.m, I'm live with Rants on here. Jez, what you got coming up, mate?
Wednesday night, I was going to ask you, Kenny, if you're around early doors with Gracie Mate.
If I'm around, the answer is always yes.
I don't know if you're about Lee, because I don't like to push on you too much, because you're a very...
As soon as the World Cup starts, mate, I'm free.
Yeah, okay, mate, fine. So I'll get in contact with you, Kenny. Might try and get somebody else on. Might try and get a guest on. I don't know. But, do a pre...
Will it be a super fan, Jez?
Sorry?
Will it be a super fan you'll be looking to get on?
No. No.
What is a super fan? What is a super fan?
It's somebody that sits around the table on another YouTube channel. They're self-proclaimed super fans. So if you can get yourself on there, doesn't matter whether you support Arsenal or not. If you support another team and you can get on that particular channel, when your team is. So we've got Chelsea coming up in a couple of days.
Oh, that one.
Yeah, so you all sit around the big coffee table or dining table. There'll be a couple of Chelsea fans over there, a couple of Arsenal fans there. Yeah, now it's called a super fan debates. Maybe we should start doing that and call ourselves super fans. I don't know.
No,
imagine having the audacity to call yourself a super fan.
I might actually have an FC Zurich.
That's right.
Oh, that'd be cool. Yeah, go on.
Something real different. I'm trying to get hold of him. I spoke to him last week and haven't got in touch again. But that'd be nice. Something different. And that will be excellent.
Kenny, Jez's channel, by the way, is in the description. Arsenal history and more. If you want to learn about the history of the club, then there's no better person on social media than Jez. So make sure you subscribe. Kenny,
nobody watching it though. Nobody watches it.
Get watching it.
Yeah, get watching. Don't worry, mate. It'll pick up 100%. Kenny, Ken 1972, Insta in the description. Kenny, what have you got coming up?
Well, I know what I'm doing on Wednesday now because Jess has just announced it. Today, I've been invited to go on a podcast at 8 o'clock, but in between that, I'm not going to watch Hollyoaks. I might watch. No, I was going to watch Strictly It Takes Two because Tony Adams got a good mark, but you know I've got a life, so I might go for a run. And then there's no football on, so any murder mysteries, any detective shows I can watch? Please recommend them. Get to my
murder mysteries. Just go back and have a look at Wenger's last 10 years, mate. That's a fucking murder right there. It's a murder of a football club.
I was there, so I don't need to do that. It's like the you know, All or Nothing. What's the point of me watching all the documentary? I was there.
All for nothing.
Oh, well, good for nothing anyway. But anyway, I was there anyway, so I don't need to watch things like that.
There you go. Big up to everybody in the chat, man. Big up to everyone watching on playback. And we're out of here, people. Adios, amigo. Arteta Ferreira.
The club is just that goes for you, Arsene. Club's bigger than you, mate. Turn up to your unveiling, mate. There's a lot of fans who worship and loved you. Give them something back. Put your hurt to one side. There's a lot of fans who respected you, even the ones like ourselves who wanted you replaced. Do it for the fans and do it for yourself. You're better than that, Arsene.
I said that tonight, especially